We'll start getting organized here, and we'll begin to go ahead and start whatever the Creator wants to do here this morning. We're going to just do our best to submit, do our best to be in a place within our own self that we are prepared and that we are ready to receive whatever that we're going to be hearing from whatever God wants to allow each and every one of us to hear. And I would believe that we come here prepared, and we are here in that we are ready. In some of the teachings as a full-blood Cherokee Indian that I remember when I was growing up is we would always show a lot of reverence. We would always, in other words, when we went somewhere, they taught us to be quiet, and they taught us how to just, be submissive, and whatever that needs to be done, whatever needs to take place, and just, be prepared to help out and be prepared to just be a part of whatever event that you're going to. And this morning, I want to start off by saying that I really appreciate everybody coming. Whether if you are a Cherokee or if you are another tribe, a non-native, as a full-blood Cherokee Indian, I open my hands unto you and say, I welcome you. And it's good for us to gather in the way that we are gathering here. And let me just say before we start praying that, the people, some people that are present here, in other words, it just don't happen when church doors are opened up on a Sunday morning. This just don't happen. That's why we have to learn how to shift and go back to the original plan of what our Creator had for us. Now, I know there's a lot of things that we're going to be saying, a lot of things that we're going to be accomplishing here, and there's some things that we're going to say that's going to bring a denominational mindset in a loop, okay? But that doesn't mean that we're challenging you just because you have that mindset, because that's just how we have all been raised up at a level that we are in. That's why when we get into a lot of what our Creator has spoken unto our elders, even before the Trail of Tears, Cherokee Nation, the Katuwa, had a message that God had downloaded unto them. And it's hard for a denominational mindset to go back there and to receive what the Creator has really spoken unto us. But this is a start, and I believe somewhere in the future He's going to gather in the people, just like our ancestors. When God spoke to them, they downloaded what they heard. When they come amongst us, let us receive them. Let us keep that love that God gave unto us. Because there isn't anything that we can do to stop what's getting ready to take place. So God instructed us, love them whenever they do come. And it's not no different from what we call Christianity, of how our Bibles teaches us. I know last year, I've got a nephew, he was able to borrow some wampum belts. About the white belt in how that there was a white path. And the only way that we could walk on that white path was going to be, we must grab one another by the hand and let the Creator guide us. And that is the time that I believe that we are in. And we had these wampum belts here, and I began to show the wampum belts in the Bible. I put two of them together and said, if it would have been done the right way in the beginning, when everything began to come in, when they brought their Bibles, and when we had our messages on the wampum belts and everything, if it would have been done right, can you imagine how far along we would be right now in coming together as one? That's why I believe our Creator is sending, He's wanting us to hear what He wants, in other words, what He's going to be fulfilling inside of each and every one of us here. We're going to pray. Iskitod kalal de hen. Ichali eliche ahani. Kon isalale shawun. Iski athletes. Awo he you know. Ani yan ahani. Atanela ko isalale deal. Nehi kahiya shuyet. Nihile jatante tige sest ko ego. Waterlandisk, I God ile hayunant, ito hiyu, judo junatan tanya, kata kahinaska, ase no is wanekana, he anihilask, aliw ahani, jitayat jatat lishan ko hi ego, awo hiyu nihi, kalaldi atanton. Start to the Jalawa Stan nail, new stuck congregation, Niski on nette, Jatuliska, I live the Yajak Tagan. I will hear ya with you the Oscar yele, a gay yele, to Junatan, Toya, do tenacely years, co he eagle. Squanetana, he cali osa, Dija da yo hisse, co is a law lay deal. Ni hitjatan tet aha ni ko hi ego. Squanelana askinigan ni sisk ni hi jolly eliche ni le hawun ijata yo se hawun ni jatana tekest. Dini yos le uni le na hit nunatana teka di hakshastest a live do junena sa tohi one ni luka. Father, I thank you again for this gathering here and how you're bringing a people together in this day and time. For I really believe that there is a remnant of people that you are bringing together and you're birthing in your purpose inside of them. And I believe, Heavenly Father, that you're going to do a work, and we are going to be able to hear what you want to speak unto each and every one of us here. So help us, prepare us, Lord, to be able to walk and hear whatever you would have for us here this day. And I just believe that the greater one that lives inside of each and every one of us will begin to just rise up right now. Father, we thank you that as we pray for our children, I'm believing that they're going to make it home safe. They may be lost after wandering around, but I believe that they're going to just, your protection is going to be upon them, and they will make it home safe. So we lift you up, and we magnify the King of Kings and the Lord of Lords. Okay, we appreciate everybody here. This is our 17th annual Cherokee National Day of Prayer. I was speaking last night a little bit, and I downloaded where when this first started out, it started out with when Chad Smith was a chief at that time, and we wrote up a proclamation, and Chad Smith honored it, and he signed it. And he attended some of these Cherokee prayer meetings we have once a year. He was very faithful. I remember one time we had one at the Cherokee Heritage Center in Tahlequah. We set up a tent. Man, it was cold that first night. But I remember all of us, you know, we had our coats on and everything, and we're just freezing almost inside that tent. And I seen Chad Smith walk in there. I thought, man, this guy's faithful coming to our prayer meeting. And, you know, something like that really encourages me when people will go to the extra effort to make things happen or to show up. You don't find that no more, where people will just do extra to make things happen. And hopefully that God will work on some of us, because there's a great work ahead of us that God wants to prepare us for. Then when he went out, then we had Bill Baker. He stepped in, and he gave him green light, said, I'm with you guys, and whatever that I can do, I'll be with y'all down to. So he's been with us all of these years. He showed up a few times, and he also signed the proclamation where the 5 tribes that comes together every year, he signed a proclamation on that, and he agreed with it, and I know he's been faithful in coming unto that. And that happens on November, the first Saturday of November every year. So as we move on, and I know last night we had 2 candidates here, Chuck Hoskins and, I don't know, Sammy, did I pronounce that right? Where's Sammy? Yeah, I know Sammy told us he's going to straighten that up, and we're going to start pronouncing his name in the right way. So I'm listening, and I want to submit. If I need to pronounce his name a little bit better, I'm gonna do my best. Okay. Then we had Brian Warner here last night. He's a candidate for deputy chief, and he gave us a real good speech. Both of them spoke from their hearts, and we seen and we heard if they were to get elected. We heard last night that these 2 young men, you know, we prayed with them and everything, and we're believing that whatever our Creator wants to do, that's what we're hoping for the Cherokee Nation in these last days. And I want to say that I just appreciate everything that's going on. It was a tremendous service last night. We felt the Spirit of God, and we felt people coming together as one, and I believe that's very needful in this day and time. So we got a great schedule here tonight, or today. We've got Cora Flute and her sister look like they're here. They're on the agenda. They want to sing some Cherokee songs. So I want you to just feel free and just, this is a time, I know that we are inside of a church building, but the key thing about this, it's not in the building, it's what is inside of our hearts. I understand that. I'm not a preacher man here today that has all these rules and regulations, and you know, I'm limited to what God can do. I'm one here that's willing to learn. I'm willing to submit myself unto you. and learn whatever that the Creator has given unto you. So I want you to just get comfortable, make yourself at home, and we're going to have we're having a hog fry. The hog is being fried up right now, and right here in a little while we'll have some fry bread and hog meat and everything, and we'll just have a good time. And later on this evening we got the Hawaiians, Paulo and them. They'll be coming up, and they'll be doing worshiping God. And last night they scared a bunch of people. I mean, they had some looks I never seen before. But I know where they were coming from, and they were using what God had given unto them. Every culture has their own way of how they become warriors, how they sound, how they act, and everything. Just like Cherokee Indians. If you get a full-blood Cherokee Indian, if he gets ready to go into war, some of you may not believe it, but the first thing that warrior of a Cherokee warrior, he's going to hoop and holler. And most of the tribes are like that. They'll go, I mean, they'll just let it all out, and away they go. Whether if they live or die, they're going out in the battlefield. So that's why it's just unique, the way that God is raising up. Now some of you that are non-natives, I don't know what kind of looks that you give whenever you get ready to go in war. You may just keep a straight face and go right towards the enemy power. I don't know. But we have Daryl Lake is back with us again today. He's a candidate for District 6. We're right here in his district here. If you see the highway, the old 17 highway that runs from Flute Springs or Bunch, that road that runs all the way down here to South. So on this side of the road is Daryl Lake's district. And he's here today, and I don't know, we were kind of talking a while ago, and he may have a few words for us. So I'm going to call upon him if he wants to say anything. Okay. And we appreciate you, Daryl. Yeah, just feel like you're right at home.
There you go. I feel funny saying that because I don't ever say it, and I had an elder tell me, you need to make sure that you say Sio and Wado. I just told her, I said, man, I just feel like I'm putting on when I do that. She said, I don't care. The elders love to hear it because you're trying. Now, whenever I watch OU football with all my native brothers, we say Wado, we say Hawa. We say OCO, I mean, we talk it, but whenever I'm out in public and stuff like that, I just feel like I'm getting looked at like I'm a put on. You know, just not a speaker, but I try to say what I can. There's been a message of unity that's been brought about, and it's been birthed right here at the House of Praise under this body right here. It's man, it's called me out. I've been raised in church all my life, and I probably haven't been in church in 15 years since last died. And but the message, I just got bitter against religion. I got bitter against belief systems. I got bitter against man, and I don't like anybody telling me what kind of relationship to have with my God because He's my God. I don't consider myself a religious person. I consider myself very spiritual. I guess the best way to describe it is religious people spend all their life trying to stay out of hell. And spiritual people are those that have already been there. And I guarantee you I've been through hell my life. And I go through hell every once in a while still. Hell is a lot different than the fire. The fire I welcome. The fire is what cleanses you. The hell I don't really need sometimes. But a message come to me last night. And I told Clifton, man, after I left here, I was up most of the night. Man, my mind just goes to going, especially when you lay down. You can't even shut your eyes and go to sleep. You're just thinking. But this unity message, in the Bible, in the spiritual realm of the Bible, the soul in a man is a feminine. The Spirit of God is the masculine. And we are the bride of Christ. And the Bible says what God has put together, let no man put asunder. Amen. That man, without a culture, without man, you don't have a culture. Without man, you don't have a belief system.
Without man, you don't have religion. That's what, and those things can be beautiful if done right. I'm telling you. Cultures can divide one another. Communities can divide one another. Belief systems can divide one another to the point of war. To the point of war. And I just want to tell y'all that I am so thankful of this message of unity coming out. And it's being birthed right here in this body. And it is powerful because you got folks like Sammy Eagle going all the way up to Liberty, Oklahoma, preaching this message. Nycut, Bellefonte. Everywhere we go and we get a chance to speak and listen, it is the message of unity. And when Clifton talks about he sees this next generation of leadership coming in to be able to unify, it may not happen, but it's going to be spoken. And it may not happen this generation or this, but it will be learned and it will be repetitive and it will be believed eventually. And that is the direction that we need to go. I'm thankful for these candidates that I'm running against, and I told it was all three of us at Liberty, that I appreciate us not having a negative campaign go on. Now, I'm a joker, and I cut up, and I don't know if they know how to take me sometimes. But I just told them, I said, that just tells a lot about our character as just men. It don't need to happen like that. If anybody likes them, they can have them. If they like me, they got me. I just don't want any more division within our tribe. It don't make sense to have this much division. I know it's a competition. I know everybody's interviewing for the same job. But you know what? Everybody out here, the voters are the bosses. And y'all get to do the hiring. But I just want you to know that this message of unity has struck a chord with me. Like I said, Clifton has known me for a long time, and I've been an ordained minister in Texas and Oklahoma since 1990. And it's not that I'm gone to the wayside or anything like that. I've just kind of got fed up with the religious babble and the division and the strife between churches. You see churches in town in Salisaw split up 2 or 3 different times, already had 2 or 3 different names, same building, same group of people. Half of them go this way, half of them go that way because of their ignorance of what God is about. God is not about how much stuff they have. And all. God is about what are we doing to help our fellow man? What are we doing to show his light through ourselves? Because y'all, it has nothing to do with this fleshly body. It has nothing to do with this. It has everything to do with what God is doing in your life, that you can help your fellow man that may not have that vision of God. But I just want to say I appreciate y'all, and I was excited to get up this morning. I told Clifton I wasn't going to be able to make it, and I got up and I talked to Ashley. I said, hey, man, can I be back by 12:30 and everything be all right? And she was like, yeah, man, I got up here just as fast as I could. And Clifton asked me if I wanted to speak last night. I was like, no, I don't want to make this about me. I thought he was going to preach, so I come up here to hear him preach. And I appreciate the opportunity to talk. But definitely I don't want to make this about a campaign thing. I just want to tell you what's on my heart, because I haven't got to testify or say things that's been going on with me and God in a long time. And it really feels good. It really feels good. I don't attend a church. Like I say, I just don't want to get involved in any of them social cliques or groups like that. The things that I do that I help to help people is my internal reward. And, you know, if you can't see God through my work, then you're not looking hard enough. Because what I do is out of love. Whether I win or lose this thing, I've done one in 1,000 ways by getting the support from the people that have shown up. You know, if y'all don't know me, I've been to prison 3 times in my life. 94, 95, 96, 2000, 2001. I'd been incarcerated in Arkansas twice, once in Oklahoma. Got on methamphetamines out of college, stopped going to church, and you know, man, you go into that stuff thinking it's just a good time and a little party, and next thing you know, man, you are just enslaved to this thing. And I make it my life's mission to help anybody in that predicament, because I'm not a judgmental person. I've been there. I'll jump down the hole and help you get out as long as you're trying to get out too. but I'm not an enabler by no means. But I want you to know that I have really dedicated my life to helping folks, native and non-native alike. I mean, I've helped other non-native facilities develop reentry programs. My specialty is prison reentry and economic development, and helping ex-offenders find employment. And that's my passion. And people have other passions. Mine just so happens to be that because it really resonates within me. And I think that God didn't send me through some certain things in life to go in vain. And, 1 in every 6 adult males in Oklahoma are convicted felons. And like Brian said, everybody's a felon, only some of us have been caught. But I really see great things happening here in this body. And I hope that you can take what's being said and what's being learned here and just manifest it out into your communities. Take it back to where you're from, and let that light be shown, because there is no darkness in that light. There's nothing that can separate you from the love of God. And again, that scripture, what God hath put together, let no man put asunder. And if we are the bride of Christ, and we are totally devoted to Him, man can't separate that. They can try, and different laws and different acts and different bodies and different things. They can make things difficult, but in your God's eye, your mind, your soul, your spirit right here, and if your soul is submissive under that man, that Spirit of God, you are one, and there is no separating that. And that message of unity. I told Sammy, I said, there's a catchy little phrase, we may not have it all together, but together we can have it all. Really, it sounds corny, but if you think about that, man, there's more power in togetherness than there is in division. There just is. And y'all, I appreciate y'all. I appreciate your hospitality. I appreciate you inviting me. I've ran from this for a long time, and it's nothing personal against anyone. It's something that I just deal with in my heart as far as, I told Dennis James, I said, Dennis, I'd just rather be called an agnostic than anything. I don't want to identify with nothing, because my relationship with God has grown tremendously since I have stopped chasing the religion, the doctrine, you're tied into it, and there's no room for growth if you just settle. So folks, just don't settle today. Don't settle in life. God's ever changing, ever moving, and He can take you from one direction. He can take us from this to something totally opposite in 10 years, but He's not gonna send us away from that message of unity. I promise you. Thank y'all, and I appreciate it again. And Clifton, I'm going to give this back to you.
Okay, who get on it?
Yeah, I got you.
That's good. Appreciate that, Daryl. That's a real good words, encouragement and everything. And can you not imagine, can you not see what we're seeing for the Cherokee Nation and who is wanting to step in? It's people that understands what this other generation is having to face. There's some of us, we really don't understand what drug addiction can do to a family or to a woman or to a man. But we've got guys like Brian Warner and Daryl here that totally understands. And if you haven't never been there, and if you have never battled drug addiction in your family, I'm not here to say I hope you go through with it, because I'm saying you don't want to go through. Even as a parent, as a father here today, I wouldn't want to put that on nobody. I wouldn't. I've seen my son. He's lost everything. He's lost, I don't know what all. I've seen him burn a brand new truck right in front of my house because I wouldn't let him drive it and everything. And it's just like they don't have no respect for nobody. Their whole identity of who they are and who they're supposed to be just totally goes away. They will lie to you, and they will tell you that they're okay and everything. And that's quite a challenge. That's why I believe that there's people that God is raising up now. I believe we're getting ready to see God move in a great way. Because God is going to have a people that's not going to have a denominational mindset, but there's going to be a people that he's separating, and they're coming together as one. That's why I don't rely on this. I'm not relying for this church building to take me back to the presence of God. I'm looking at what my Creator can do inside of my heart. Yes. To renew this heart and renew this mind in this body so that I can go back home where I'm really supposed to be. And there's so much that we need to say, so much we need to talk about. But I'm going to call upon Corey, you and your sister, to come and sing at this time. This is Corey Flute and her sister. I'm sorry, I don't know your sister's name, but you can introduce her. Come.
Jalali chisna siu iskili skoltan era siu igali gohte llanayo ni hui iskili skoltan er llaka hunelna he osuyela my sister Rebecca do don't Sissy anos most everybody in our community knows her by Sissy and Ayin sister. And that's how we grew up. I was telling a group of Cherokee students the other day. I said I didn't even know my English name till several years into our school years. They were calling me by my English name, and I didn't know that's what my name was. I just knew Sister and Sissy and Joanna and son, Tuya, Tina, John. But as I was thinking or sitting there listening to everyone talking, we were kind of thinking the same thing, Gailey, a lot. I've been really diniol kachitana te junsti diniol dintus anad ni winuj uyolen unda nadeg. Lana duskinuna ni sadik klanskuto ai niga ni sadik asa na henti gig tileg nu dale du gota tanado ha skin ani ke e du la how nagi luas ga tokka ja ke hido skunun sti deg dini ol. As I was sitting there, I was thinking, and it's been heavy on my heart for a while now. Is our children? I don't have no children. I just call everybody our children. But they're out there and they're running and running and running and running and running. I was saying, referring to like a dog chasing his tail. It'll never catch you. It'll keep going round and round and round. Unless I guess it's got a long tail, it might bite it. But but our children, they're in that motion, ain't it? And people say our children are our future, and they are. And you know when Samson, before he was born, his mother started praying for him. When he came, she prayed for him again. And I imagine she prayed for him every day. And she dedicated him to God. And he didn't do the work right away, did he? Like a lot of us, we run away in it. We run away from what our mission is. Like he was saying, there's a plan for everyone, each and every person. So what I'm saying is just, if you found your mission, then we need to start praying for the ones that haven't found it yet. And they're going to find it. God will answer our desires of our heart. I believe that. So, our songs, the songs that we're going to sing, refer to God, the Son of God. Now Joseph Ulosa, he's now gone, and what's the English word for ascended up to heaven. Giali Skastohti. That's the one I depend on. That's the one I hold on to. Ulosa. I can't see. Ulosa. With the jealousy. I'm going to follow that path. He was speaking of a white path. That's the righteous path, isn't it? That's the way of the truth. That's the way that our Creator would want us to go. And you know, there's none of us that is good, but through Christ, the Son of God that He talks about, it will help us to stay in truth. So, okay, one, that's Jesus dance. Gios de gele, causing the den, Ijaguele. Are you Gios? Ti. heavenly home, do do. Wo do di gwena say. Wo do ha. Wo do ha. Di gwena sa. Di gwena sa. Agilio. Agilio. Nuwe hana. Nuwe hana. Na do ya ji. Na do ya ji. Go na de di. Go na de di. New Negio. Negio. Ya donela. Ya donela. Di gwena se. Di gwena se. Wiji gati. Wiji gati. Darling, yo. Dirty, yo. Who's dirty, yo? Who's Nagu ya se. Nagu ya se. Wiji gati. Wiji gati. Taline yo. Taline yo. Dirty, yo. Who's wiji lujan. Di gwena se. Di gwena se. Wiji gati. Wiji gati. Taline yo. Dirty, yo. Who's dirty, yo. Who's Nagu ya se. Nagu ya se. Wiji gati. Wiji gati. Taline yo. Taline yo. Dirty, yo. Who's wiji lujan. See, we saw. And on yo I ji look God. Come, I will tell you what God has done for me, God. Ana on guess. Ti ha ostali helik siu. Kio knilu histi kohestalale. Kalkogna noti otlana. God unelana hi ujele gachode jogate histana. Laskuda danela wiga. Unelana ujele jogate histani. Nahen nusta nanda neli het gogi gilge. Skina oji goti. There's 7 of us, brothers and sisters. There's four of us sisters, and we got 3 brothers. We were all raised in church, and one of the things our brother mentioned, it's just not different churches that makes us one church, and it's how we all come together. Because when God calls His people home, He's not going to call the Baptist church home. He's not going to call the Pentecostal church home. Methodist. He's not going to say that. He's going to come and just call us church, the bride and it. Church, let's come. Children, let's come. Like I said, we were all raised in church. But the church really was from what our parents done, how they raised us, how they loved us, how they treated us. Even though there were 7 of us there, I felt like I was special. But each and every one of us were special. And each and every one of us were different. We had a different thing to do. Even in our chores, we had different things to do. I was always outside helping my dad feed pigs or something. So I never really learned how to cook or anything. But my other sisters, 2 of my other sisters did. those were the things that they were nurtured to do. I don't know why I'm telling you all this, but there's different things for us to do. There's different things for us to do to get the job done in it, I guess. But I just want to thank you all, and we're going to do one more song. This is called "I Will Tell You What God Has Done for Me." The last part somewhere it says, "Just kina wujagata." I was headed. One of the brothers mentioned hell. I was headed into hell, but God reached down and grabbed me. Aniyo yijilu yejagwiyada yigada yijata does this thing dajano yiheli nul heli staye ayaji sayagi doli jam dajano Chelani to your day we gonna go again. I liagwa tetwadi say oh hustini jina yes gana Dolly jata asiye logica lenedan jata nahiski ispaniko di just kino winike yajiki jajano ni hali nuli Sayagito Lijaya Dajanoni Heli Lili Helistaye Ayaji Sayagito Lijaya.
Okay, when we started the Cherokee Prayer Day, there's been some new things that has developed, and seemed like people have stepped in and supported and have been a part of everything that we do here. And I want to give Chuck Love a time here a little bit and let him tell us. He has a nice house over here by the lake at Pettit Bay. Chuck, if you would, at this time, would just come or stand from right there and just tell us a little bit about what you have available there for the ministry. And we really appreciate him. That's where Paulo and them have been staying. Let's give him a hand clap, orphans.
Thank you for that. The minute I walked in here, as we got closer, I could feel the draw. In a good way. Recently, Vicki, my wife, we've been together a long time, and she's put up with me for a long time. But we came to Tahlequah in '85, and she's a registered nurse, and she went on to become a nurse practitioner. And I did different things. I became a nurse later, kind of old nurse. And we retired. I retired 4 years ago, and she retired 2 years ago. And the girls, we have 4 daughters. We're proud of all of them, and 2 still live in this area, and 2 are in the Seattle area. And anyway, we moved into Tahlequah, and the home place that we raised our girls, we looked at it, and it needed some work, and we said, well, we could sell it, and then we just couldn't. It's just a home place. It's a place for family. It's a place that Jimmy over there painted for us, and it's just, we decided to keep it and work on it, and so it's become a place of refuge, actually. It's listed with vacation rental by owner, but it's place where people can come. It's big enough, it's got enough room for people, families can come and have family reunions, that type of thing. And we were so pleased last year when Pastor Clifton talked to us about it and said, would it be possible we have people come from a long ways away from Hawaii, one of the places, and from Kansas City area and around. And he asked if we could possibly house the people there, and we were thrilled about that. It is a business. We work hard on it. We have two employees, and we do the work on it. And what we do with church-related things, though, is we offer it, especially in our off seasons, but in the spring and in the fall, winter even, if we have mild winters, we offer it to churches, organizations, as a place where they might house people that are coming from a long ways. It's also a good place for retreats, ministerial retreats, place to come together and pray, or whatever, that type of thing. And we've been real pleased with that. We haven't gotten the word out real well. We keep talking about getting a letter to the churches, but sometimes it's best just to be in the church and tell folks. And we're real pleased to be able to do that again with this church and with this wonderful Cherokee National Day of Prayer. And we have cards available which we can give to folks, and if you know people that need a place like that, and we've had different things with the church, with youth group has done retreat there, and I had a big women's event last year for around Christmas, that type of thing. So again, we're real pleased to be there. I want to say just from my heart that I had a cousin in northern Kansas, southern Nebraska. My mother was not Indian. My dad was Delaware Cherokee. He was from Chelsea, Oklahoma area, Allowee, Oklahoma. Vicky's folks are both Cherokee. Well, her mom is Cherokee. She's a Creek killer, maiden name, and her dad is Yuchi. His name's Alan. And we always joke about they've been married over 60 years, and they have the Creek Killer reunion. And of course, the Uchis were enrolled with the Creeks, and she hadn't killed him yet, but they're still together and have a wonderful time. They've helped us a lot over the years. But what I wanted to say about this funeral we went to, I hadn't seen this cousin in a long time, real small family that I'm from. Vicki has more first cousins on one side than I've had in my whole family. And at times you feel kind of lost that way. You know, you have your work associates or some friends, but that family is so important. And when this cousin died, it was time for her to go. It wasn't a bad thing. She knew the Lord and had been a nurse herself and was ready to go. And it's about 400 miles up there, and I just felt the pull to go. And what I realized, it was the pull of the blood. It was, those people are my blood. Those people are from my mother's family, and I hadn't seen them again in a long time. And it was just that pull to go and to be part of that. It's a small funeral, and got to see my other cousins. And it's always been funny up there because mom's side's all Scotch, Irish, and English, and they're pale. They're real good people. And we'd go up to visit them as a kid, and we were with these brown kids, and people would come in and say, "Now, who are these?" And I said, "Well, these are our first cousins." "Are you sure? These are your first cousins?" Because we were the brown kids. But it was the call of the blood. But I realized in a different context today that this is the call of Jesus' blood. This is the call that I ran from for a long time, too. Long time. I went through the military without really being saved. And God has brought me through many things that He's brought me to be here today, brought our family to be here today. And we're so glad to be a part of this and be able to offer a place for the visitors to be comfortable and to feel welcome there and to just work together that way. And again, we're just, thankful to be here, and I want to thank Pastor for giving us that time just to express our appreciation and just to carry on as best we can with the call of Jesus on our hearts. So I want to thank you all for that. I hope.
Okay, thank you, Chet. We appreciate that. And very quickly, we're going to be moving on. We're running out of time, but we want to just make sure that everybody is, comfortable. And I know a lot of us, sometimes we think we got to eat right at 12 o'clock. And since it's hog meat, we can't hardly wait with fry bread on the side. But I think we can just pray to the Creator, and we can just kind of keep our composure and just kind of, just be still. And we got all day, okay? We're not in a big rush. We want to take our time because we want to hear everything. And most of all, we need some directions of how we can get on this white path together, coming together as one. So I'm going to call upon Howard to come at this time and let him share how the Cherokee language is coming forth and how it's doing now. Howard, would you come? I think Phyllis Dunn gave us a pretty good gave you a good introduction from back there, who you are and who you work for and everything. And Howard has been with us, too. He's been real faithful in coming, and we've been praying for the Cherokee language during this time.
Still, God,
Yo.
I'm thankful to be here today. I've always enjoyed coming up here. It's a beautiful drive from where I live at, and it kind of gets you thinking about things. And so it's good. I was also thinking earlier, you asked what Cora's sister's name was, and I was like, I don't know what Sissy's name is. Because she's Sissy to me as well. So, and Mr. Legg, you touched my heart today. And I don't know you very well yet, but I know that spirit, and I know, and that gives me tells me a lot of what's going on. So, we're doing good things with the language. We have a long ways to go, and we're doing it through God. We've dedicated our programs. This as soon as something happens, our elders will get together and we'll bring that program before the Lord and dedicate that program like you would a child to God. Today we have several people in here that's involved in language revitalization. Diane is one of our master speakers. You heard her sing, and she's an incredible person. And I was sitting there thinking, we have a lot of meetings. Sometimes they ask us to come talk, and sometimes it's a little controversial or whatever. And I've been there several times, and I think, boy, I'm just nervous. And I look at Diane and I say, would you sing before we get started? And I just was laughing because I'm like, well, here's Diane. He's, inviting the presence of God in a meeting before we get started, because that's something we utilize. You can be aggravated all you want, but when you have somebody like that get up and sing in Cherokee, it changes the room. And it's something we know the power of that language. Jennifer Love is also involved in our program. Carolyn Swepson is involved in our program. Phyllis Pettit, sixth killer now, sorry, is involved in our program. And so we have a lot of people here that's involved. Master Apprentice program is built around a concept of how many hours it takes an English mind to learn Cherokee. The National Defense has rated languages. They want to know how many hours it takes to if they put boots on the ground, how many hours it will take somebody to be able to speak that dialect or language from an English mind going into that language. Although they would not formally rate our language, they informally rated our language because we're not considered a threat to the federal government. Cherokee isn't. But they informally rated our language. At that time, it only went to a level 4. And they said if there was a such thing as a level 5, that would be Cherokee. Now there's a level 5. So we're in that. It's estimated about 2,880 total emergent contact hours to about 3,500 hours to become conversational in Cherokee. That doesn't make you as fluent as your pastor, but it makes you where you're able to become conversational. So that let us know that some of the stuff that we was doing, we was rating our language around how to save like a romantic language, where Spanish it takes about 730 hours, right? So you can learn roughly 4 romantic languages an English mind can in the amount of time that you can learn Cherokee. So, languages are equally difficult for a baby, but once you program a baby, it becomes harder depending on the language that you're trying to learn, right? So, the Master Apprentice program, we call it Charlotte Gawon Histia Aniwisusk, Cherokee language planters, or we're planting the Cherokee language, is a 2-year program, is built to be 8 hours a day, 5 days a week, and have as much Cherokee as we can so we can hit that level to allow somebody to become conversational. We're on our 4th graduating class that will graduate in January, and we've hit levels that we never thought that we would hit. And I know that has to be because of God, and so that's what we figured we'd hit what's called intermediate mid. There's levels of language that somebody knows. The ACFL, the American Council of Foreign Language Institute, has came in and describe different levels of language. Although we're not a foreign language, it falls in, where you can learn something that's Farsi or something like that. You would know what level that you spoke. The common person around here speaks English, maybe intermediate, higher, advanced, low. So there's superior and distinguished after that. So we thought we would hit intermediate mid, which is about where the immersion school graduated their first class. And we've been successful enough where we've hit advanced low, which was 2 levels above what we thought. So that's good. And now we're trying to figure out how to get a second language learner to the superior level in Cherokee. And we're working towards that. We have one young man that's hit advanced mid, and he spends all kinds of time with your nephew and Diane, and he has, I think they're arguing that you guys kind of recognize him as that. Is that right, Diane, Jay? He's got to that level that native speakers are recognizing him. So I won't put words in their mouth. I'll just sit quiet and wait. But so we've got some things going on. We also have the 14th generation that Core's heading up. It's for kids that leave the immersion school, and they have after school, and then they have a summer intensive. So we're about to gear up for our summer intensive of 10 weeks in Cherokee for these kids. We've opened it up to some of the kids that has language programs in their schools. So we have different kids coming from different locations throughout the 14 county areas coming for that. And they really do a good job. It's amazing if you put them in about 400 hours of Cherokee, and you try your best not to speak any English. It's amazing how them kids, they can just absorb language, and so that's what we're involved in with that. So, and one thing we're doing now is we're trying to figure out we've got to make our people ready. When we rated the Cherokee Nation, its people from 1 to 10, they're rating it a 4.3 right now of ready to save the language. So we need that higher. Once the people has it in their hearts, it will change. So there's a few things that we're doing to try to figure out what are the best things to get our people more involved in saving the language. And so one of it is we've got to make sure that they understand where we're at. So we're doing a real good environmental study on where we're at with Cherokee language and speakers and remaining speakers and that sort of thing. So we're in the process of doing a speaker roll where a speaker comes, signs just like you would do with a doll's roll or something like that, signs a roll book that's, that they're a speaker, where they're from, their date of birth, and that sort of thing. And it lets us know what their ages are and that sort of thing. So you can kind of figure out where we're at. Right now, we've developed a list, and it's on that list we have 1,990 names on it that has been identified by speakers to be speakers. Now, of that, about 50 of them on the list has passed. We don't know exactly what to do with, I just feel really weird about going in and taking somebody's name off, right? Because you learn to cherish. So in the month of December, we lost 16 speakers. That we know of. Month of January, we lost 5. February, we lost 7. March, we've lost 12. And we're in the month of April now. So you've kind of, we're keeping track of that, not to be morbid, but to let us know how much time, we have and how much we need to push, right? So we're hoping that there's some that we are missing that's going to sign that role, and so we've made a medallion for all the speakers, and we're going out and giving medallions out. Come on in, guys. Glad you guys are here. We've in the next few months, we're looking at 18 different communities to go maybe have hog fries or fish fries and that sort of thing to get how many speakers we have. We are a little hopeful because in December, although we lost 16 speakers, 6 of them wasn't on our list, and I don't know if it's because they may have been in a nursing home for a while, or they've been in poor health and haven't been out and about, and people haven't really taken notice. They think they've already passed. So, but that lets me know that there's still some out there that we don't have on that list, and hopefully that will flush out, and we'll know exactly what we're dealing with. These are a little bit older numbers, but we had a speaker that was 102 years old, but we lost her a couple months ago. But of that, around 1990 or whatever speakers, we have 12 of them that are in their 90s. We have an elder here in the back that I think is getting closer to that. And we have one in Kenwood, Woody Hare, this April sometime. It will be turning 90. So we'll have a few more that's coming up. We have a 136 that's in their 80s. We have around 257 that's in their 70s, 527 that's in their 60s, 283 that's in their 50s, 122 in their 40s, and 5 in their 30s. So that lets you know where we're coming. We're not producing. Now this is first thing with speakers. Now we have some that's coming up. It's left the emergent school, that sort of thing. But it lets you know we're running out of time. If we don't watch it, we're going to miss the opportunity to save something that's really spiritual, right? And also we know that we've got older speakers that speaks a higher register of language than a 30 or 40-year-old. So we're in the process of writing grants and that sort of thing, finding resources, because we want to put some of our 40-year-old speakers with some of our 80 and 90-year-old speakers for about 3 years. We think that will up their level of language, and we won't lose that higher registrar when we lose our older speakers. So this kind of allows us to punt the ball until we can back build enough intermediate advanced speakers to be able to get to superior and distinguished, right? But we don't want to lose distinguished and speaking superior register before we have people ready to take over. So we're going to try to use wisdom and try to get some of our younger speakers, because it's not like how it was where you progress in English, right, as time goes on. A lot of these folks are not around Cherokee every day. So they may have stayed at what a 20-year-old speaker would be in English, which is a speaker. There's nothing wrong with that. but we want them to be 50, 60-year-old in Cherokee, so that when we have these other ones coming up, that we have a place ready for them to go to another level, and that level still exists, right? And another thing we're in the process of doing is building what's called a language corpus. So there's about 50,000 documents that's written in Cherokee language. We're trying to get a picture of all of that, put in one searchable document, and then while our elders are still alive, some of the language that isn't spoken very often, to still know what them words mean, right? So it'll allow you to say, this word was spoken 10 times in this 1,000,000-word document, right? And it was spoken in document 133 and document 2050 in this context, and it will allow us to pull that up for an elder to look at that and say, I want to know what the context that word was spoken in. And now them 10 times, we may be able to save a word that would otherwise be lost if we wait another 5, 10 years, right? So that may sound nerdy, but we don't want to lose a word of Cherokee, right? God gave us this language. We don't want to lose it. So them are some of the things we're doing. We're going to, I think, Newberry Library in Chicago has a lot of it. Philadelphia, I think they have around 300 foot of Cherokee documents. So now that may mean that there's a sleeve on both sides of each page. I don't know, but when you can think of 300 foot, that's a lot of documents, you know. So there's going to be words that comes out in that hopefully we can revitalize them words. Maybe one day have a Cherokee Author Society where, you know how we read in English, where you can sit down and read a good book, right? You know, I like to read Louis L'Amour. It'd be nice to read that type of level this in Cherokee, because it allows you to sit at home, and then your levels of Cherokee will go up just sitting and reading. And so if we had the Author Society, we could identify at-risk words, and if we were helping that Author Society, like write a novel, different writers of that, we may say, well, you may have a grant from the tribe, but we need you to take 10 of these 500 at-risk words and put it in your book, 20 times a piece, so it reintroduces that word back into the language. So I don't know how I got on this little bit of a nerdy conversation, but that's some of the things that we're in the process of doing. Another program we're in the process of trying to build is to get an additional couple years with a select few that has met certain levels. So we'll have our first language speakers with our elders, saving that high registrar, and we'll be back building some of these folks that are hitting advanced, mid, advanced, high, and see if we can build some of them up right now to get ready for the next step. So we have a 20-year plan of how we're trying to do that. So it's interesting. That's what we've been involved in. I remember me and my wife, I was raised in a Pentecostal home, right? My dad was a preacher, and I was raised without television. I was raised without a lot of things that people has, and I was the youngest one. My dad was born in 1929. Between me and my oldest brother's 29 years. So I get along with older people a little better than what I get along with people my age, because I came from older folks. I was the oops, right? But I watched them older folks that had an understanding of nature and plants. And we grew what we ate. We had gardens that we canned, and we made our own hominy, and we went out and picked poke and mushrooms and all the things that, and they seen God in all that. It wasn't some stained glass trying to find, make somebody hear you articulate something wonderful. My folks, you would take a walk out in the woods and you'd find one of them, out there by themselves, praying, They built altars, and they used who he was to do it. Because you could find things that God has showed us in the smallest things. I remember one time I had an elder tell me, Howard, I want you to go and get me 2 trees that's rubbing together. And I want you to cut that down, bring it to me. I just did what he said, and it has to be when when the wind blows, it needs to make a noise. I said, okay. And it took me, I don't know, 2 or 3 weeks to find a tree that did that. Because I would go and look and look and look, and in that thicket, trees wouldn't touch one another. I'd think, oh, this is real thick place. We'll have a tree touching one another. And there wasn't. And I thought, well, this is something that these aren't supposed to know where the other tree is, but they do. And I don't know if the elder was really needing that or if he was needing me to see something, but it let me know the trees talk. They know where the other tree is. Because I looked at probably 1,000 trees before I could find a tree that touched another tree and was rubbing against one another. So now they say, they did a study here a while back that says that trees communicate through these fibers, and if they have a baby that's when their seedlings grown up, they will send food to that baby and all this stuff. They're just now finding that out. But our elders already knew it. And they know it. And they know it within our language. They know how awesome God is through the lens of a Cherokee. And it is different. I've read the Bible several times. I've read the Spanish Bible because me and my wife was missionaries for a while. I read a lot of that. Now I'm reading the Cherokee Bible. Guys, it's different. This is something that would change the world, our language, who we are, what's passed down to us. If people could understand some of these words and the depths of it is different than what you ever think. Some of the translations that we have that goes from Hebrew to English, there's no way to translate it. You can translate it from Hebrew to Cherokee, and you can understand it. But there is so much lost in the English, because English is compiled of 11 different languages. We just borrow, because we've taken over I don't know how many countries, and English language just grabs, right? So you don't know the roots. You don't know what it means. Like I used the understanding of the word courage comes from the Latin word cor, that means heart. And it lets you know that you can't have courage without heart. That if you really look at that linguistically, it means it's almost like your body's sitting there and it's not your mind. A person's in war or something like that. It's like your heart comes up and takes over your inner person. And somehow you're doing heart beads and courage comes out. Well, that means something. But we don't know that in English because it's not an English word. It's Latin. But when someone like Crosland's talking, they know the roots. And when somebody like Diane hears it back, or Phyllis or Clifton hears it back, they hear them roots. And so they understand these real deep concepts that is deeper than about anything you can fathom. And that's within our language. It will change who we are as a people if we gain it back. And if we lose it, it will lose over, it's estimated 5 generations, you'll lose culture. You know, so we've got to save it. And that's what we're going to do. We're going to use people like Daryl to help us do it too. Because I heard him, and what I heard when he was talking, Clifton, was for years and years I've seen people, I did Indian child welfare for 12 years, and I've seen people on drugs. I've seen Cherokees on drugs. Now we're with speakers, and our speakers, a lot of them are passing faster because if you look at their family, their kids, some of their grandkids, some of their nieces, nephews are on drugs. They're up in the middle of the night helping somebody. People's fighting to have domestic violence. All this stuff is going on. It's just destroyed our native speaking community. And they're having to deal with that. Our speaking population is dealing with that more than about any other population within Cherokee Nation. And it's causing them to be stressed out, and they're passing faster than what they should normally pass. And I'll explain some of that, why that is. There's studies that's done on all these border towns. It could be in Europe, it could be down in Mexico, and U.S. borders. What they're finding now is when you have somebody that moves in and speaks a different language, and they are taught, they're forced English or whatever on that group. What happens, their family is speaking a totally different language, right? And so they may be speaking a superior language in Spanish, Russian, whatever. And so they have their kids come in. They have this language at home, and they have their kids come in, and they are learning from school English. Over time, their kids learn this level, but they don't learn a high level of English. They're learning an intermediate level of English. So we have elders here that understand God and our language and all this sort of stuff in a superior level. So, and they are trying to convey it to somebody, and they may only speak an advanced level of English or an intermediate level of English themselves. So they're trying to convey all this thousands and thousands of years of what it means to be Cherokee through a little straw. And it causes our young people, because we don't have the tools that we had when our young people understood what we was trying to tell them. We don't have the tools to convey everything that we need to convey to them. And it causes anger, it causes resentment, it causes all that because their birthright has been stolen. They're not speaking their language. And it spins out of control. So what they found out in the border towns, you can take somebody that's Spanish descent or whatever. If they've had several generations there, they will speak a lower English, And then you could bring somebody that's never spoke a word of English in, and the same community, and they learn English but they have a superior level of Spanish. They're more likely to go to college. They're more likely to do this. They're more likely to do that because they are rooted in who they are. So our language is more of the answer than what we think it is. And so one day, Daryl, we're going to have a program that's for drug rehabilitative. And we're going to put culture and we're going to put language in it. I'm just going to speak that. So I will sit down. We have an elder coming up here pretty soon, and I will open it up just for a second if anybody has any questions about what we're talking about, or if I just lost everybody here. So yes, ma'am. Right. Yeah, we're in the process of doing just that. That sounds I've missed something. So we have an app right now that you've seen the little book that Cora was singing out of is downloaded on our computer. And so the idea was, because we've been places and we've had times that they've asked somebody to sing and us not have that. And so it's fixed where any of our elders, if it's downloaded, they can just see it right there. And they could, look at their songs, right? So we're going to add to that. But in the process, we've got folks reading every Friday the Bible. So they're doing the New Testament all in Cherokee. It's going to be accessible from that app, okay? And so from that app, you will be able to turn it on, and you will be able to listen to the book of Matthew. We're on Mark now, right, Diana? We finished Matthew, but it's going to be downloaded. You'll be able to listen to the book of Matthew in Cherokee driving down the road, right? What we're going to be doing, we'll have a line or a ball or something that allows you, when you're looking at it, it allows some of our elders that don't read and some of our people that won't learn how to read, it will follow along with the audio with the written word. So you can see it, hear it, right? So that's what we're working on. With that, there's a kids' corner that we're working on that allows you to be able to tell them stories like what you're talking about in Cherokee. So we finished, I think it was Noah, is that right? And there's some of them that we're working on, and it's what the idea is. It will be able to be uploaded, and there'll be a little storybook, and you can read it in Cherokee, or you can push audio, and it will read it too. But it will allow someone like you, if you're wanting just to nerd out on it, to sit there for hours and learn that story in Cherokee, right? It will also allow people like Carolyn to be able to hear more of the words, because what we found out is you have to hear Cherokee English mind has to hear Cherokee for about 800 hours before they hear Cherokee. Does that make sense? Because it's a tonal language. There's 7 tones in that. Or Mandarin that everybody talks, about. There's 4, right? Is that right? Jennifer? She's the one that told us. Okay, we have one of our folks, the Loves back here, their daughter had been in China for a while, and so she had studied that other language too. But so that's what we're working on. And we have a group that's coming together, RSU's coming together, and and they're making a bunch of little apps. And maybe it's be like Cherokee Hangman or all them little apps that's where you can do games in Cherokee. So what we're going to do, we're going to find as many of these little nerds as we can that likes to do little computer things, because that's not me. God love them because they're helping us, but they're going to be assigned. They have to build this or that. And they'll be building it. We will add the language, but for them to pass certain classes, they will have to build little games for us, right? So we're meeting with them, and they'll build them games. Some of them games are being invented. It's amazing what happens in the class, because when you're sitting for 8 hours trying to stay in the language, you come up with stuff that you never knew, right? And then we meet with the Hawaiians, or we meet with the Maoris, and they show us little things they came up with. So Carolyn and them, whether they know they're doing it on purpose or not, they're inventing some of them games right now. And so we're documenting that, so the next group that comes in, they'll add stuff to it, and the next group, and before too long, we'll have more and more resources, right? So every one of our students is in the process of documenting their journey, the words they're learning, and it will be given to, it is built upon every year, so that 20 years from now, you don't know what we'll have. But they create little stories in class. They take pictures of them, or different things, and sometimes we'll use them same stories hopefully 5 years from now, or 500 years from now if we document it good enough. One more thing, and then I'll give it back to the pastor, but on this book we're doing, the Speaker Row book, we've built it where it's with archival paper, with archival ink. We've got with an older gentleman that has restored Bibles. I asked him, I said, what is the oldest Bible that you've ever restored? And he said, it was 392 years old. So we went through all of his stuff, and he's taken these old books, and he said, this book, whoever bound this book made this decision, which caused this wrinkle. The fibers was the wrong way on the paper. If you open it, you're tearing these little bitty fibers. Over time, it will rip the page over 400 years or whatever. So that Cherokee Row book that we're doing, we're taking all the things, no acid in the ink, all this sort of stuff, and we're guessing that it will last, if God tarries, it will last 500 to 1,000 years. So the ideas behind it is this. Cherokee names is optional on that. Some Cherokees don't want you to know their Cherokee name. But we want that, we want them, if they will, to write their Cherokee name down, because we're building this so it will last and our language will last. So I would like one day, 500 years from now, somebody looked through these 2,000 names, and that's some of the names that we'll be naming our kids at that point, right? You would think that you can upload it in a computer and it'll last forever. Well, we've got a server. You have to upload it you have to change it every 3 years, and every 20 years you have to change the whole language. And every time you save an image, pixels are dropping out. So you think this computers is the way to make something last. So a book or a stone tablet is still the way to make something last the longest. So we're building that book for that, and it's going to go right straight into archives, a certain temperature and that sort of thing, the minute we're finished with it, so that book will last. So, any more questions? I think I gabbed them and bored them to death, Pastor. Well, yeah.
Put that on that mic. Don't pray.
Hold on.
So our biggest battle with the language that the number one battle that we're up against is death. People dying and the language just fading away. So that's what we're going to be praying about, Howard. I believe I see that in the Bible does tell us that the last enemy power that we will put under our feet is what? Death. So that means we got to fight death. And we got to go after it. And we, as Christians, we have to defeat death. That's all there is to it. Don't wait until you get to heaven. Let's understand the battle. Let's defeat it. Start defeating death right now. That's the key thing. And that's where a lot of times the levels that we are in with this word of God, of what he's saying, is sometimes we get confused and we don't have everything. Like some of our elders in the Cherokees, they have more spiritual understanding unto our language here. Like if I spoke to Gene Copeland, me and Gene Copeland are running buddies, and I taught him some Cherokee. So if I said, Oshio, Gene, Oshio, Gene. See, he's all right a little bit. And if I tell him this, if I say this, eti lunk, na yonega. See, I've understood. Yeah. See, I've taught him to a certain level how to survive out there. But as far as spiritual understanding, me and Gene never had that opportunity on spiritual understanding. But me and Gene can be driving in this area, and there can be a lot of Cherokee boys drinking out there. I've seen this right there by your old place at Bunch where the creek crosses. A lot of Indian boys. I said, Gene, I'm going to stop, and I want you to hold a conversation with these guys. And I rolled my window down, I stopped, and Gene said, Oshio. And all them boys, hello, Oshio, 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 Oshio. Everyone said, hello, hello. I said, yeah, Oshio. And he held a real good conversation. Then we drove off. This Gene Copeland. And there's levels that we all come into whenever we start understanding. But the good side is the deep understanding of who we really are. We don't want to lose that. We don't want to lose that. So Sonny, come and receive a church offering, and then we're going to get our speaker here to come. He's one of our elders. I think the basket might be over here somewhere, way over here. And we're taking up the offering to help our speakers out and other things that needs to be paid for here. We're just going to receive the offering if you want to help out with everything. Father, just bless the offerings, and we give you praise and honor for everything. Amen. So as he gets ready, Phyllis, can you kind of escort him up here and see if he wants to sit down or see if he wants to stand up, however he wants to do it? I think we got to